Hi everyone, I'm Chris and I'm going to be showing you how to assemble the Battlefront Miniatures M113. First up, let's take a bit of a look at the plastic frame. This plastic frame covers more than just the Team Yankee M113. We've been selling it for a while and it's used for Vietnam and Arab Israeli as well. So there are some parts on here you're probably not going to need. Key parts of the frame are obviously the tracks, the hull bottom, the hull top, these components here, if you're making the M106 with the mortar, the front of the hull, and over here on the second part of the frame, we've got track guards or mud guards. We've got a number of components through here that are for the Vietnam versions, the ACAV, driver's hatch, rear door. This is the mortar bipod that gets to attach to the outside of the vehicle if you're making the M106. 50 cal, the passenger's hatch, the trim vane or swimming vane that goes on the front of the hull, the commander's cupola, rear door, once again your mortars. Also included in the kit are these two crew sprues. First one has a couple of vehicle commanders, and then here we've got our Dragon gunner. You also get some crew for the M106. Alright, to begin with, we're going to start by assembling the basic part of the hull. We're going to be assembling the chassis or the superstructure, the roof, and the front glacis plate. Now before you actually glue any of these pieces together, it's always a good idea just to do a quick test fit to make sure they sit well. With the M113, I find that you need to make sure that you've carefully trimmed all of the feeds that are on the glacis plate. If you don't clean them off nicely, you'll find that the front plate doesn't sit quite flush on the front of the model. Next up, I'm going to put the rear doors on. I find it's easier to glue that on first before actually putting the door on the actual M113 itself. The piece is just a little bit fiddly. You'll notice I'm using a toothpick. That just makes it easier for me to make sure I don't get glue everywhere. Trim vane or swimming vane that goes on the front of the hull. This is used for fording rivers or streams. The vane gets pushed forward and that helps stop the water coming up over the top of the M113. Now we'll put the door on. On the back of the M113 you can see there's a couple of pieces here that the door just nicely slots into. A little seam of glue on the edge of the door and on the top. I normally don't glue my tracks on. I actually like to paint those separately, so I'm just going to cheat a little. I'll show them attached to the model, but I'm not going to glue them on today because I'm actually going to be painting this model this weekend. Mudguards. At the front, you've got a little cutout. That's how you know which end's the front and which end's the back. It can be very easy to forget if you're not paying attention. I know I've done it and had to cut it off some models. There we go. The front of the tracks has this transmission housing. That's how you line it up with the front of the model. As you can see, they actually just slip in there quite nicely. So we're going to glue on the driver's hatch and the crew door. Finally, the cupola. If you're going to not have any commander figures popping out, I find it's easy just to glue the components together outside of the tank, outside of the vehicle, and then just put it on as one big piece. As you can see, it would go something like that. For my ones that I've been painting, I've actually left the cupolas off and been painting them separately. The reason for that is I'm airbrushing the MERDC camo on, and I just thought it was easier. Right, if you're going to be gluing the cupola open with a commander figure in it, You need to make sure, you need to pick whether you're going to be using the Dragon Gunner. Let's see our commander here with a Dragon anti-tank missile, or one of the other commander figures. Either way, there are a couple of things you need to do first. Firstly, you want to glue the hatch onto the back. Let's get a bit more glue. Once again, I'm using the toothpick. Just put a bit of glue in the back there. It goes opposite where the 50 cal would be mounted. The hatch sits in just a little bit back from 90 degrees up. So it's sitting in kind of a bit of a jaunty angle there. Now, the 50 cal just glues into the mounting point here. If you're going to be gluing your commander in firing it, you'll need to glue it in pretty much heading straight out. If you're going to use this figure, then you can have it off on a bit of an angle. And if you're going to be gluing the Dragon Gunner in, it's a little bit more complex. So you need to think about how you're going to do that. So if it's going to be this gunner figure, glue it on there, glue your commander figure in with a bit of super glue, and then glue your 50 cal in with a bit of plastic glue. If you're going to be gluing the Dragon Commander in, the Dragon actually needs to be set firing to the front, or wherever you want to have him firing off, and you need to turn the cupola 90 degrees. So the gunner, when he's using the Dragon, the commander when he's using the Dragon, goes in something like this. So he's firing over here, with the mount for the 50 cal turned off, that offset 90 degrees. You can glue the 50 cal in there as well, and it would look a little bit like that. Once again, I'm not going to glue these last couple of pieces in, just because I like to be able to paint them separately. It's easier to paint the figure for me when he's not glued to the rest of the M113. But if we did, and if I had to glue the tracks in, your finished M113 would look something like this. I'm just going to give up on the 50 cal. There we go. Hopefully this has made it a bit easier for you to assemble your M113s, and good luck.